Leo's Legion, there are three down bros here on a bye week. Greg, Arthur, Roland, looking at your Lions while they take a rest. I don't know if it's a well-deserved rest or not. That remains to be seen. We'll toss that around here. High-level thoughts going into this bye week are, from me, is it too early to say everything is now going through Winnipeg for the playoffs? Have the Lions lost total control of their destiny, or is there still a slim chance of the Lions being crowned Western champions? Arthur, what do you think?
Well, that's a pretty good chance for Greg. But first and foremost, good week of rest, hopefully healing some bumps and bruises, hitting the reset button. 4 more games left in this last for the regular season. We are hoping that adjustments can be made, people can get healthy, and they're going to be in a right mind space to attack all of these last 4 games. Roland, what do you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough stretch down the road. As I said last week, we've lost control of our destiny. So it's gonna be up to Winnipeg losing games if we want to end up first. So, but it's still possible. It's not mathematically impossible. I think what we need to do is basically just focus on what we're in control of and win every game. That's the best we can do. All right. So if you're joining us tonight, welcome. Glad that you can join us. Please feel free to type in the chat. If you agree with anything we say or disagree, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And we've got planned for tonight. Let me see if I could bring that up. This agenda. All right. So we're going to be talking about our grade for the season and then prediction for the remaining games, prediction for the playoff seeding, and basically 2 things that we want to see changed. And feel free if you have thoughts around this too. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But the first thing is revised grades. So maybe let's start with Greg. Revised grade.
Well, I thought the Lions, I think I was the most pessimistic one of the bunch, cynical, pessimistic, or whatever, going into that first break. And I think I gave the Lions a C plus grade after the first 7 games. And, I think we were 5-2 at that point. We predicted what's going to happen over the next 7 games. And my gollies, the Lions didn't even come close. 2-5 over those next 7. And some of those losses were downright awful. And so I'm giving the Lions a solid D for the last 7 games. So a D and a C probably averages out to what, maybe a C minus, a higher C minus. I'll try to be as optimistic as I can, but man, I don't know. Just thinking about what happened over those last 7 gives me a rather bad feeling in my gut, bad taste in my mouth. I don't know. When they lost ugly. Nothing like a close loss where they gave everything. We talked about it ad nauseum about a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'm giving them a solid D over the last 7 for a C minus overall at this point in the season. Arthur?
Can you go lower than a D? I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah.
Well, D is like typically 40 to 49%, right? Typically. And then there's lower than D, right? So I'm going lower than a D. Like 2-5. I know they had injuries. 2-5. I thought they would do 4-3.
Yeah, we both.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of road games. Yes, they had a lot of injuries, but man, a lot of the teams in CFL had injuries. And then you were able to airlift Nathan Rourke in. Like no one saw that coming except maybe me. And I didn't think
I owe you a
I didn't
beer.
I didn't think it was gonna happen this season. I was totally shocked. But I'm giving them an F, 2-5. This is their year.
Whoa.
Well, 2-5. What do like? You 2-5 record, and bottom line, and one close game, one close loss, 1 point to Calgary. And like I think like 3 ugly, ugly losses. Like 3 of the losses. They weren't gonna come in. They weren't gonna win that game. They could have played another 3 hours, 4 hours. They would not win that game.
Yep.
So, and the way they lost, they kind of lost a bit of their soul as well. They lost their swagger. They lost what made them special. Was that passing offense, very special, and they got it was kind of noticed against that Calgary game. It was totally exposed in Winnipeg, and everyone caught on. So my overall grade is now a solid C on the year. If you're 7-7, it went from a B plus all the way down to a C, and I think that's appropriate for a 7-7 record. You're 50% win rate. Maybe C is a generous grade, but what do you think, Roland?
All right. So people are saying I don't have sound, so I think I should have sound now. If you can hear me, just let me know quickly if you can hear my sound. But
I can hear you.
Okay, they can hear me now. Okay, great, awesome. Thanks for letting me know. So there's a comment here, JG. What's the status of Alexander Hollins? JG, we'll get to that. Thanks for your comment. I'll give my thoughts first. It's kind of hard for me to give a grade because they're up and down. They've shown signs of brilliance, and then they've shown signs of just mediocrity. So no consistency at all. We know that they have the ability to beat the likes of Ottawa and Montreal, and then they just lay an egg and lose to Toronto with no intensity that they brought with those two games, right? So definitely they are not championship caliber. Can they still win the Grey Cup? I think it's still possible, but they need to dig deep, and they need to grab the bull by the horns and not let up, right? So, how would you grade that?
They have a 7-7 record, Roland. Focus on that.
Yeah,
Focus on that record.
So
remove all emotion, Roland.
Focus on that record.
7-7 is average, right? So average, if you were in school, you're an average kid, you would be a C. So I would give them a C.
or a pass.
Yeah, but I guess we're going.
It's like a 50%. I mean, if you go win rate, I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I mean, how to grade, but a win rate's 50%. That's a pass.
So a pass, that's a C, right? Because it's a pass. A D would be a failure, DEF, right? Mm-hmm. So it would be a C.
I believe when we went to school, the C minus was the final grade. If it was the end of the year, it was a P. If you had a C minus, that was just the teachers didn't want to see you no more. Just get the heck out of my school. So they're just barely passing. But can they bring it up to an A? It's still possible. It's still mathematically possible. So I'm putting on my optimistic hat. It's still mathematically possible. They could win the Grey Cup, so they could bring it up to an A.
Oh yeah. At the end of the year, if they are the victors, if they win the Grey Cup, of course they get an A.
Yeah. All right. So those are our grades, I guess, our report cards for the season. Let's go to JG's question. What's the status on Alexander Hollins? Guys,
I haven't heard anything about it.
There's been nothing out there yet.
So maybe we'll find more about it tomorrow. They might go through I don't know what their day one is. Is it Monday or Tuesday?
Well, they had a day one was today.
Day one was today.
Yeah,
so did they release?
Yeah. It's not
looking good. I think it's week to week, so I don't think he's gonna be in for a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess let's go to our next question. Our next point on the agenda, which is, let me just clear the comment here. Prediction for the remaining games. All right. So prediction for the remaining games. So let's first list out the games that we have coming up. All right. So this week we have Hamilton at home. And then we have Calgary at home. And then we have Saskatchewan on the road. And then Montreal at home. And then the last week is a bye week. So we just have 4 games left. All right, so let's go with our predictions. I guess let's go with Arthur first.
I'm sensing 2-2 for their final games. I think the hardest game it might be Hamilton on Friday at home.
You think that's
The
the most
first
challenging?
game off your bye.
And Hamilton is on the rise.
They played well. I mean, you see how they beat the Argos, and like we couldn't get any of that kind of offense going until Bryce came into the game. So hats off to Hamilton, and they're playing better overall football. So I think that's a hardest game. Calgary, okay, that might be the easiest game, or maybe Montreal, because Montreal's gonna probably be
Get locked up.
would have clinched by then.
Yeah.
So and then it's at Saskatchewan, and basically two teams that have, after the seven game mark, have just played terrible. So maybe Saskatchewan would have turned it around. They would have had 2 or 3 more wins. But I think the hardest game is Hamilton. And it is because everyone's like, the BC's probably geared up to play. They're gearing up to, beat Calgary, beat Saskatchewan, right? And this is this is a trap game. It's a trap game for a team that should be no trap games because you're a 500 team.
Right.
But Hamilton is a classic trap game at home after a bye. So 2-2.
Okay, 2-2. Let's before we go with Greg, let's read a comment. Habs for Life says, "I'm traveling to the game from the island for next game, which is Hamilton. Really hope I see the Lions who played Montreal." Yeah, me too. A comment from Todd S. Remaining schedule in their favor. Cats might be tough. Stamps slumping. Riders ? Montreal at home. What will Als bring having clinched? Yeah. So that kind of echoes what Arthur thinks. All right, Greg, what are your thoughts?
My heart or my head?
Let's go with your head first.
Okay, my head. I'm going with Arthur. 2-2. If nothing has changed coming out of this bye week, trap game, whatever have you, these Lions have not shown us that they have that X factor that they need to bring each and every game, or they would not be 7-7. I really don't think they can beat Hamilton, nor can they get by Saskatchewan. They seem to have Calgary's number-ish, and I don't know, even if Montreal brings their backups, I don't know if BC's going to have enough gas left, because we need them to do, if they need to do anything, which is in their control, like you said, win out. But I really don't think they have the gumption, the intensity, whatever it is to win out. And so 2-2 is the best that I can see happening. If I'm wrong, I'll be happy. I'll be ecstatic to be wrong. But
like 0-4?
Hey, they go 0-4. I think Mr. Dome will be calling in a cleaning crew. Honestly,
that would
they
be.
go 0-4. Again, I can't. Again, I'm going to go off on a tangent talking about what he's done. But they've got a healthy James Butler coming back. Bo Levi looks like he's caught some of the Bo Levi of old in a little bit of a bottle there, the way they've been playing, because they've got a sniff of a hope that they can turn their thing around. And I don't know if BC can match that intensity. When they knew they had Toronto coming in and had to win that game, and they were already mentally in bye time, I don't know. So 2-2. Firmly 2-2.
2-2. What does your heart say, though? You said you had a heart and a head.
My heart?
Yeah.
1-3.
Whoa! Oh my goodness!
It's even worse.
Oh my goodness! All right.
Yeah,
let's stay with your head.
Right?
Stay with your head. Oh my goodness!
I mean, I want them to go 4-0, but they haven't. I mean, I'm trying to keep the emotion and try to be like this statistical analyst like you, Arthur. And if I do that, I'd go 1-4 or 1-3. 2-2. Like, so I'm trying to be optimistic.
Optimistic is 2-2. Oh boy! All right, Roland, save us.
All right.
You're Mr. Optimist.
I am Mr. Optimistic, and actually, I think it's possible. I think we can go 4-0. So 4 wins, and win out. And I'll give you the reason why. We've seen our team have the ability to do it. So it's not it's not a lack of ability. They have the ability to do it. they did it with Ottawa and with Montreal. But so we know that they can do it, right? So they can do it. The problem is they have to dig deep and bring that intensity. So what the reason I think it's possible is because they got their ass kicked, with Toronto,
Oh,
right? They
Roland's got
did.
some gumption there going. Ooh, love it.
They did, and say what we want, say what we want, whether it's a trap game or what, but they got their ass kicked
At
and
home.
at home. And so whatever Kool-Aid that they were believing, thinking that they're better than they were, I think now they realize they're not. They're not better than they were. They have to bring the same intensity that they brought to Montreal and to Ottawa. So I think that realization has come in, and so maybe it could be a blessing in disguise that they lost. What should be a winnable game at Toronto, because we need, look at Winnipeg. They've turned the gear for the last few games, and they're probably going to win out the rest of the season. We need that gear too, and I think that loss might have kicked us in the butt, and I think it's possible. All right, just some comments. Blake says just wanted to say hi. Hey Blake, nice.
Blake.
Nice for you to drop in. Glad that you can join us even for a little bit. JG says, if we get the team we saw in Montreal, I'll say 3-1. I don't think we'll see them play as bad as they did against Toronto again this season. Okay, that's kind of what I was trying to say too, right? Oh, okay, Greg.
Yeah, GG. That's what we thought after the two stinkers back to back against Winnipeg, and then of course they proved us real wrong because they brought another stinker to that Toronto game at home. So, that's just me, So they proved they can outstink a stink. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, that first game was the first game back for Rourke, right? Right after the two back-to-back wins. That first game against Ottawa was Rourke's first game
Well,
back.
I thought he played Winnipeg.
Oh, did he? Okay, he played Winnipeg.
Yeah, at home, and then they lost. It wasn't as bad as the first Winnipeg. Well, that first of the back-to-back against Winnipeg.
The shutout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hard to be worse than that.
Yeah. So I'm giving, I'm giving them a little bit of a break there, with Rourke coming back and not having played game speed for a long time. So some more comments. Blake says, Lions game on Friday is a must win. Yeah, I think if they lose, Hamilton is going to be.
It's a must win if they want to at least have a home playoff date.
Yeah. Okay, another comment. JG, standing predictions. I'd love for us to host the West Finals, but it's hard because Winnipeg has all the important tiebreakers. Yeah, for that reason alone, I think we finished 2 again. Yeah. So actually, that leads us to our next our next item on the agenda. So JG, great segue. So let me bring this up. So next is prediction for playoff seeding. All right, let's go with Greg first here.
Okay, my head.
Sure.
Maybe we stick with your head because your heart is kind of toxic right now.
Yeah.
Squeaking. I think a squeak into second. I'm not going to say a firm second because again, Saskatchewan. They're that X factor. I don't know what Saskatchewan's going to do come their next game. So having just what I know and what I feel, I'm going to say squeaking into second barely. But I was going to wear a toque and a scarf for this episode and say I'm getting ready for Winnipeg in the Western Final, but I thought maybe it might be a little too pessimistic for the fans out there. But I honestly, when Roland said they're no longer in the driver's seat last week, didn't say they lost control, but just they're now out of the and we couldn't really answer definitively if they're going to be able to get that driver's seat back after what Winnipeg did to Edmonton. And I can't see us doing anything major turnaround in this bye week other than heal up. Yeah, I say second is the best I see us doing.
Yeah. All right. Arthur?
I think it's Winnipeg 1, Saskatchewan number 2, and BC 3.
Well, okay,
And they narrowly beat out the Elks. I mean, if BC loses 2 games and they win 2 games, they're going to be 99. So Elks are 5-9. They would have to go, like, they would probably have to go 4-0 just to tie the Lions. So I think the Elks are probably the second best team in the West, just on playing, like, on the field playing right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're just running out of season. If they had a couple of more games,
Yeah.
I think they could potentially catch both Saskatchewan and BC. But they're just running out of games. And that loss against Winnipeg was massive for them.
Yeah.
If they could have just pulled that one out, it would have helped everyone in the West. But it would have also, we would have had someone chasing us. And they've been playing well for J-Jack. So feel good for J-Jack.
Yeah.
NG, right, Greg?
Feel great for J-Jack.
Yeah. So
Happy for J-Jack.
BC will be finished third. They'll go on the road and typical CFL fashion, win 2 games on the road, and you got a home game coming. I know it'd be tough to win in Regina and then in Winnipeg in November, but this, like I said, this is a crazy, wacky West division this year. So it would not surprise me at all that something like that will happen.
Did you go to Roland's house sometime while he was away and get his rose-colored glasses and put them on?
Well,
so you're talking this team can do what the Danny Mac / Kent Austin team did. Go to Edmonton, beat them, go to Calgary in the snow and beat them, and then come back and win the Grey Cup.
I'm just saying, crazier. This is a wacky year for the Western Division and the CFL. Like, this is crazy. Like, the Lions and the Riders are so good, and they both go on like these 5-6 game losing streaks or winless streaks. And then Winnipeg had like all this massive, like, you see the way they were playing, they were like turning over the ball, like it was like they're a candy dispenser. And then they've just righted the ship. Yeah, they got some guys back, right? They got some guys back, so that really did help. But you got to give them credit, right? And I'm thinking maybe they peaked too soon. That's what I'm hoping, right? I'm not saying it's the chance of that happening, like Lions finishing third and winning 2 road games in the playoffs. Yeah, of course, it's really rare, and it would be unlikely to happen. But it wouldn't surprise me this year. That's all I'm saying. Would not surprise me.
Yeah.
Give Roland back his glasses. Let's see what he's going to say.
Yeah, that's right, Roland. What do you think?
Okay, so that's a pretty hard prediction for. So right now, the Rough Riders are behind us by 1 game, right?
By 1 point.
By 1.
Yeah, because they've got a tie
point.
in there somewhere.
Yeah,
they
by
have
1
a tie.
point. So they need to win more games than we do.
Well, we've only played them twice. I mean, we're going to play them only twice this year, right?
Yeah, but they got 4 games left. We got 4 games left.
But they have an upcoming game at home. They just have to win that game and beat us in the tiebreak.
Yeah. So,
and if they beat us in that game, they'll be 1 point up with the tiebreak.
Yeah.
And 1 point ahead of us. So then we would need another 2 points to get over them.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, they need to win. If they win 4 games, we only win 3 games, then they're ahead, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we both kind of control our destinies against each other because we have that one pivotal game.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Saskatchewan wins out, they get second place for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the schedule. They're playing Ottawa at home. Then they're going to Edmonton. Then we're playing them at home. And then they're hosting Calgary.
Oh.
So they have a bye week, then they're hosting Calgary. So they're probably going to win the Calgary game. Edmonton, I think, is going to be tough. Ottawa, Ottawa, I think Ottawa can beat them if
Drew Brown didn't. He got an ankle injury, got knocked out of the game.
Yeah, and then
Mazzoli looked not bad though.
Yeah, Mazzoli is
not as good as Drew Brown.
Yeah, but he, he hasn't played game speed for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but at least they've got a capable backup in Mazzoli. I mean, an experienced backup. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, So I think second for sure. My heart wants to say first, but it's hard.
You talking about BC?
Yes.
Oh,
My heart wants to say first, but that, but that, that depends. That totally depends on
I thought you
Winnipeg.
talk about the Seahawks.
No, that totally
Wrong
depends
podcast,
on.
buddy. Wrong podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Four
Totally
down
depends on,
rows.
on Winnipeg losing games, which the way they've been playing right now is going to be really tough. So I think realistically, I'm going to predict second. We're going to end up second in the West.
So Saskatchewan has 2 tough games and 1 easy game, and then the game against BC.
Yeah, exactly.
And then-
Winnipeg got left.
Wow.
I think it doesn't matter the way they're playing right now.
Well, they do have it locked in their head, right? They said it's first place or bust. They turned it around, and now they've got first place locked in, right? And it's like nothing's going to stand in their way. And we're just like, I don't know, the mamby-pamby, meh, wet rag kind of intensity we bring is not, you know.
So Winnipeg, they're playing Edmonton again, so back to back. Edmonton at home. Then they're going to Hamilton. Then they're hosting Toronto, and then they're going to Montreal. They have a bye week, and then they go to Montreal. So it's not that easy, right?
I mean, that Montreal game is going to be even more of a. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, for Montreal, at least that one is the last game of the regular season for Montreal. So they may say, okay, let's try to get a good game in because we got a 1 week bye, right?
Yeah.
So at least I think there's more for Montreal to play for against Winnipeg than BC. But Toronto, they have everything to play for.
Yeah.
And with Chad Kelly, they're a different team. They at least can score points.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think Winnipeg is probably going to end up first, and then. But I think we can beat out Saskatchewan. So I think we'll end up second.
I hope you guys are right.
All right.
So we have another home game to go to.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to our next item on the agenda, which is 2 things to change. All right. So these are 2 things that you want to see changed in the Lions Club for the remainder of the year. Let's go with Greg first, I guess. Greg?
Number 1, defensive intensity. I was talking to Arthur today, watching some of those teams that are now on the upswing. Their defenses seem absolutely ferocious.
Yeah.
It's just like you watch every hat that was laid on an Edmonton player in that game. It was, a couple players tie up the ball carrier, and the second or third guy, if it's third or fourth guy coming in, it is a solid smack on the ball. It's not just a clawing. It's like a helmet or a shoulder pad to that ball to jar it loose. And whether it's a turnover or not, that ferocity causes something to happen. Whether it's a turnover or at least that intensity, ferocity filters down to the next play. That has to happen every game for the rest of this year for me. And the second thing to change is some unpredictability on offense. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't know where all that creativity we saw last year and the year before and earlier in this year has gone. Like all the misdirection, all the motion, all the, we just seem so one-dimensional. So, yeah, there you go. Defensive ferocity and some offensive variety.
All right.
Because if those teams have locked in on us on what we've done, I'm hoping that there's another playbook ready for the last third of the season or something that they haven't opened up yet,
I'm sure they would have tried it by now, with a 5-game losing streak, right?
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Greg. Let's go with Arthur.
Yeah, I agree with those 2 things, Greg, for sure, 100%. To add on, I get 2 other things. I think that O-line needs they need some stability. So whether they're injured, they're banged up, like they got to make the right player personnel decisions. Who is in the right spot? We know the configuration, how it was for the 5-game win streak. It was pretty much one set setup. Schuler's got to be in there. Hopefully their tackles are better. Broxton and Perkins are better, are healthy, and then Schuler can fit in, and then you have Chung. So then you got to, then I guess you just pick your center, which between Couture and Packer, right? So I think Packer did play better in the beginning part of the year, and then he got injured, and then, I think this is his first year really starting. So it's a long year. Football's not it's not an easy sport, right? You're getting smacked a lot. You're hitting, you're getting hit. It's a war of attrition. Sometimes, you just need that experience, right? Consistency. When you're a pro, when you're a vet, and that's what happens is you know what to expect and you prepare your body for it. And it's mindset too. So the first thing to change is that O-line needs to be better for the run blocking assignments, to make holes, and the pass protection. Both need to be improved for the Lions to have a chance. And the second thing I'm hoping for is, I think the defense. Greg talked about offensive kind of. I think they're a bit too predictable. Maybe on defense, and I'll pick the defense side. I'm thinking they're getting a little too predictable. We know RP likes to cover zone deep. Yeah. And we're giving up a lot of yards underneath. We're getting picked to death. Yeah. The bend don't break,
It broke. Sorry.
I don't know. I understand it. If your secondary is young, needs more experience overall. They got some really good pieces, and they got some pieces that need experience, and you want to protect them. But I noticed, like, when Toronto in the Toronto game, the defense was better in the second half because they were a bit more aggressive. I guess they had to. You're down. They had to try to get turnovers. Yeah. And then some teams have picked them apart. Like every time they blitz, they get burned deep. And I get, you don't want to get exposed. But I think some variability, some unpredictableness needs to come back into the defense. Yeah. I think that would really help. A pass rush would help. Increased pass rush would help too. Yeah.
If I could just add something to your O-line, awesome point there. Let's not forget that patchwork O-line that they had to do in Montreal because everybody was falling like flies. And look what William Stanback did in that Montreal game. The rushing game was awesome with that patchwork offensive line. That might be a formula that works too, but wholeheartedly agree with that. O-line has to find the best unit for this home stretch. Yeah. I think that's the happiest we've ever seen Roland was that game.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
I think Stanback had something to prove.
Yeah, he did.
Like a couple of those runs, he was taking on 5-6 guys by himself. Exactly. There's no O-line down there. He was still going through them.
He needs to do that again this home stretch too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Roland, what do you think?
So for me, totally agree with everything that you guys said. But the one thing for me is they really need to dig deep. Exactly what you were saying, Greg. Like when Stanback gave us that performance, he needed to prove something, and he didn't care whether his body was going to be hurting after the game. But he just dug deep and gave it all, right? So that's what the whole team needs to do, and we've seen them do it. Like I know we have a lot of weaknesses, right? We have young DBs, but we saw in the Montreal and the Ottawa game, they were flying to the ball, right? So even if they were playing zone, they were still flying to the ball, right? So in spite of the predictability of the play calling, both on offense and defense, having that intensity just takes them up over that edge and makes them a championship team, in my mind, right? So in my mind, a championship team is not necessarily the one that has the best skill set across the board. If you dig deep and you play hard and you hit hard, you can win. And especially as we're getting towards the fall, we've seen time and time again the teams that know how to play physical, end up winning because you knock the opponent off balance, and they from the quarterback getting rushed to the O-line thinking twice, second guessing themselves, right? To the linebackers and DBs, think, do I want to take the hit when I make this tackle, right? So that comes with the intensity, and we brought that with Montreal, right? So I think so intensity, and how do we get intensity? I guess my second point is the leaders of the team need to bring that on. They need to just hit it into the heads of all the players. This is what we need to do to win, to be a championship team, because they are not a championship team today. So if the leaders stay, they can just state the truth, right? We are not a championship team right now, but we can be, and the way we can do that is to bring the intensity every single play. So there's no more rest from here onwards. If they can bring that mentality combined with the strengths that we have, I think it's very doable. So those are play calling. We complain about the play calling. I'd like to see more creative play calling too, but I think if we can bring the intensity up, that'll overcome the play calling. If we can bring the intensity up, I think that can overcome the weaknesses of inexperience in our backfield. Even if we have to switch guys on the O-line, I think intensity is contagious. That's why it's good too, right? Mm-hmm. It's contagious. You have a few people doing that, and the whole team suddenly plays a lot better. We got a comment from Todd S. So, okay, these are the two things, I guess, that he thinks we need to change. Kick return, that's Greg's favorite topic. and TJ Lee making an open field tackle. Yeah.
I would have to say, I love Todd's comments, but TJ has made some open field tackles since he's been moved over to that linebacker spot. But I would say consistently making open field tackles.
Yeah.
Because like in that swoon against Toronto, it's like they weren't swarming to the ball. They were standing there waiting for the receiver to come to them. Well, okay, it's a 3-yard pass, 7, 8, 9, 10 yak yards, and then we make contact, right? Too little, too late. And I remember the game, and the line is just echoing in my head. TJ Lee, pre-game in the locker room, telling the defense, the DBs, play to the line. And I have not seen that at all, because it's, again, like Arthur said, the bend don't break. But yeah, thank you, Todd. We should put Todd up on a pedestal, give the man something, because we need something. I mean, special teams was actually not bad against Toronto, other than that one big return, which we kept them to a field goal, I believe, where Grant ran all the way down there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were laying some hits on that specialty on the Toronto return team, and then the defense. Oh, okay, let's just let the Toronto offense just move down the field. There's no intensity transferred over from what the special teams did, and if the defense did something, didn't transfer over to the offense. So somewhere that contagiousness disappeared somewhere. Maybe they had the filter system on too much in the stadium. I don't know. But thank you, Todd. Kick return.
Yeah. I mean, it's if our coaches are playing safe on the kick returns, right? They're not asking the returner to break out. But maybe if they did once in a while. So maybe not every return, but this is where the creativity comes in, right? So because we're very, very predictable, but maybe one of the kick returns say, okay, let's scheme this up. So we're gonna try to break you free, and don't run down the middle and run where the open field is. That could work. TJ, I mean, to be fair, he has made some good tackles. It's just not consistent, like what Greg said, right? Mm-hmm. So, but the inconsistency is because the intensity has not been consistent. Yeah. All right. So that's all we have for the agenda tonight. Any Any last minute thoughts? I guess let's look ahead to the Hamilton game. Anything specific other than what we've already talked about, what they need to do? Anything specific? What are we most scared of with Hamilton?
Any of the Lions players that I know loyally tune into this podcast, all of those players in that locker room, please listen to what Roland just said. Look ahead to the Hamilton game and no further, right? Look ahead to that Hamilton game and stop right there and worry about kicking Hamilton's ass back to the big smoke, whatever they want to call it. But no, they got to be Steeltown. They got to be dialed in. More so than they have this whole entire year. Are we going to put a score prediction out there? Anybody?
Sure.
Well, I guess we're going to have to, yeah. Don't all volunteer at once for a store. It's really tough.
23-18.
23-18.
Lions? Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay. Todd has a comment. Worried Butler might have a chip on his shoulder as Stanback did a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that game happen last year.
That's a good point. I mean, Butler was a beast the past weekend.
Well, he's been hurt for so long. He's rested, but yeah, he had that game last year where he came in to prove a point, and he did. Yeah. Badly.
Okay, Has for Life predicts 21-18 Lions. What was your prediction, Greg?
23-18.
Okay.
Lions.
All right.
Hey, we got to make sure we say hello to Habs fan because he's making the trip over from the island. I think he said, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Has for Life says they're usually low scoring between the two as of last few years. Okay.
Okay, pros.
Yeah.
Someone else?
Has for Life says, yeah, yes, sir, he is coming. Yeah.
Okay. Section 246.
Yeah, 246. Come see us. We'd love to chat with you. Maybe take a selfie with you.
Are you brave enough to come to the game wearing a Habs jersey, sir? I'm just asking.
Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah, you can sit right beside Arthur, and I'm going to take a picture.
Oh, boy. I remember getting all these. Lane Hudson is going to win the Norris. I'm like, brother. Lane Hudson is better than Quinn Hughes. I'm like, boy. All right. Let's see what happens.
All right.
Let's see what happens.
So, you want to predict first, or?
I'm picking. Oh boy. Let's go 30-24 Lions win. Why not?
30 points. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think their defense can. In order for them to win, they're gonna have to score 30.
Yeah, we have to outscore them.
So, hopefully, the defense can limit to 24. And a week, a bye week, hopefully get some healthy bodies back and a really good game plan. And Bo Levi, I think he can be beat. He likes to go downfield. That's how he beat Toronto. Toronto beat us because they took away the short zones and we couldn't throw downfield. Bo Levi can throw downfield. He's probably more accurate, and I thought Rourke or Adams, but didn't get the time to throw. So
yeah.
I think there's some good things for the Lions to match up with against them, and Butler. Hopefully, that chip on the shoulder last year is not there anymore. But yeah, 30-24 Lions.
23-18, 30-24, and
yeah. So for me, I think you're absolutely right. We need to outscore them, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than 30-24. I think.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be
6 points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just a field goal. So 27-24.
Walk-off field goal with Sean White?
I don't know if it'll be walk-off, but I think it's going to be, yeah. That's my prediction.
Say 27-26 with the missed point on the field goal for a win. A rouge, not a missed field goal.
Hey, I'll take it. With the way the Lions play, I'll take an ugly win. I don't care.
Yes, that's right.
I'll take a 3-1 win. I don't know how that'll happen. Well, CFL is possible. 3-1.
3 missed field goals versus 1 missed field goal.
All right. Okay. So I guess that's our predictions. We'll call it a night here. It's been a bye week. Hopefully they're all rested, like we said, and hopefully they've lit a fire in their belly, because that's what we need.
Lord knows they need a fire somewhere.
Yeah.
So Arthur, do you take Perkins out? A healthy Perkins. If Perkins is healthy, do you take him out and put Knievel there, who played awesome as left tackle in Broxton's place in Montreal?
But I mean, but Perkins played well in those game 2 to game 6, right?
Yeah, true. But I'm just
So I think the common denominator was Schuler at left guard.
okay.
So you got to get Schuler in as a guard. You pick your best tackle. I mean, maybe that's because Schuler hasn't played tackle all year, and then you put him as right tackle, right?
Yeah, and that didn't look. He didn't look well, right?
Well,
he didn't look good as a tackle.
So I mean, you gotta maybe another week of prep, he's better at that position. But I mean, those guys. Well, depending on your faith and trust in Kelly Bates, there, Greg.
Next episode.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't know, right? But we just know what they did on the field in games 2 to 6. So I had Schuler back at left guard and see what happens. I mean, all it really boils down to the health of who we have at right tackle. But.
All right. Okay.
Remember, Habs fan 246.
Yeah. So Habs for life. Hopefully, we'll see you on the game. We'll chat a bit.
With a Habs jersey on.
Oh, please, come on. Wear orange, please. Wear orange.
All right. Chester says, "Go Lions."
Hey, Chester. Yes, sir.
Chester.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. I guess we'll call it a night. Thanks everyone for joining in, and yeah, we'll see you at the game, or we'll see you next Sunday. Depends on whether you're going to be at the game or not. But definitely next Sunday we'll chat again. Have says good night. Good night all. And if you're catching us after the live stream, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you as well. All right. Okay. Take care, everyone. Good night. Go
Seahawks 3-0.
We need the Lions to do 3-0. Good night, everybody.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.